Hey everyone, today we are diving into 2024 survey results, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. We will uncover what developers love, what they find most frustrating, and biggest pain points of the web development. Plus, we will explore new JavaScript features and CSS features making waves in the community, and take a look at how developers' income levels across different roles and regions. Let's get started. First, we'll start with JavaScript front-end framework, what people mostly like. So obviously, as usual, the React is on top. So nearly 81% people are used it, and Vue.js also getting nearly 50% of people's using. So these are the response from 13,000 peoples. So the top framework is React and Vue.js, Angular, as usual. The Svelte is getting traction and people are liking it. And HTMX is a new one. It's slightly started growing. In future it will grow. When we switch to sentiment, what React developers thinking, a 20% of developers having negative sentiments. So this is not only for React, even Vue.js also increasing, Angular is a lot, and for the meta framework, Next.js is on top. So if you want to develop a full stack application with a React, companies are preferring Next.js because it has all the pain. Next.js solving all the pain points a developers or team needs to work on. So this is on top. And Astro is also a good framework. And Next is mostly for Vue.js. Gatsby usage is now reducing. Don't know, but Svelte will give a tough competition to React and Vue.js in future, that is for sure. And Remix also another tough competition for the Next.js and Astro. It is a good framework actually, can try it. And testing, so in my opinion, my experience, I use just for the testing, but right now I'm trying with the Vitest. I like the Vitest, it's good actually for the testing framework. And mobile and desktop, the React Native is top for mobile, but obviously for desktop it is Electron only the top. Cordova in 2024 I use Cordova to build one application, but it won't as good as Electron and React Native. Build tool, obviously you cannot skip the webpack because most of the enterprise application, big applications written already with the webpack. They won't easily migrate this with some other packs, but newer applications mostly people are preferring white. I also like white for my personal application, for my personal projects. White is too fast, good actually. Monorepo, actually I tried with the npm workspace monorepo, but I didn't try PNPM, but communities are prefer using PNPM, but I have to take a look into it. But I used NPM workspace. I didn't use Yarn. Yeah, none. Turbo repo is a good option. I heard a good opinion about this turbo repo. It's a high performance. So let's come to the features. So new features which people are using. Null is coalescing. Why null is coalescing introduced in JavaScript? Previously, for our condition, when assigning to a variable, we use double pipe or symbol, but this one having a problem. Let's say you are trying with the valid number. If you use this for a string, that is fine, but if you use this for a number, let's say one value or a default value is 5, but here 0 is a valid value, it is not a false value. So in that case, if you use null is coalescing, so this will give the 0. So this is very useful. I actually replaced many of my double pipe or condition with a null is coalescing in my projects. And dynamic imports with avoid private properties. People are prefer logical assignments, hashtag grammar. So this one I didn't try it. So this one will be useful. Let's say if you don't know bash scripts. Error, so we can create a new error object with the cause. So this is a newly introduced. These newest ECMAScript features people are prefer using most, but null is coalescing is a good one. Just replace your double or condition with the null is coalescing. String feature replaced at all. So normal replace only replace with the first value, but replace all will replace all the occurrence of the search regular expression. So match all regular indices, max indices. So array feature to be sorted. So the previous sort function actually manipulate the existing array, but this one will be create a new array. It won't touch the original values array. That is the beauty of to sorted. Instead of using sort, you can use sorted so that it won't affect the original values. Find lost, all this thing they reverse for to. I mean, immutability is important, right? So to reverse, to spliced, array width. So this is also kind of a replace array value with a given location, but it won't affect the original value. So immutability is taking priority from the ECMAScript community. So similar to array.from, but for async iterators. it's good for async function calls. So new set features. So set features mostly I didn't use, only to get a unique value only I use set, but I didn't use for much of it. But these are the toppest. Object group by, actually I use a lot to group JSON, a big JSON into a collection. So what mostly used web browser APIs, WebSocket, progressive web app, geolocation, web animations. Just please comment if anyone using WebAssembly and WebSocket. WebAssembly now it is taking traction. So the people trying to use it for games, WebRTC, Web Speech API, that is for temporal dates. But I prefer use third-party libraries for date, but I didn't use temporal. So now let's go with the third-party libraries. So Lodash still on the top. Lodash is, it has lots of necessary functions that a project needs. That why still it is in top. Now I'm actually trying to use, I'm stopping using moment.js. I prefer using date functions, and I didn't use day.js, but yeah, I tried to use date functions. I like it a lot. Graphics 3 still D3 and 3JS ruling. I heard unnamed.js. JavaScript runtime, see, Bun is taking over when compared to Dino. So Bun, I just do one small project with the Bun actually it is good. Dino and Bun, will see how it replaces, whether will it join back to Node.js like IO.js or what. We'll see what happens to the Bun and Dino. So what the question is, so which other programming language do you use? So people prefer Python and PHP. I don't know. It is interesting. PHP took second spot. Okay, then Java, Go program, and C sharp. So all the traditional big applications are there in top. Rest is taking growth. And which of these AI tools regularly used from people? So I use ChatGPT a lot. I have a Copilot. I have Copilot also, but I use ChatGPT a lot. I didn't try Claude. I heard it is using good, but I tried Gemini. Gemini also, actually, when compared to bot, Gemini is good actually. Codium, Perplexity, Bing. So still ChatGPT role that AI tool. Hosting services, AWS, Vercel is for only for Next.js. GitHub Pages for static developers mostly use for their portfolio, those things. So GitHub Pages is very high. Is in top 3. Heroku, but 6-7 years ago, Heroku was a big thing. Now it is not when compared to those 5-6 years back. And it asks AI code generation for all of the talk. AI assisted coding usage is from 0 to 100, 0% and 10% only. Most of the people, very 10 to 20% usage only for the code generation. Maybe this graph will change in near future. People will use the code generation a lot because AI also will improve. So compiled code is nothing but JavaScript code goes through build steps. So mostly we use Webpack to build TypeScript. If you are using TypeScript, you will build the code. So this 100% is more, actually most of the peoples are using build step. So application pattern, so single page application, still 90% application are single page. Server side rendering, now this number will be increased. That's because React 19 they fully support for the server side rendering. It will be increased. Static site generation, multi-page application. Actually multi-page application is good when compared to single page application. That will be help for performance. My current application will trying to segregate as a multi-page application because of performance improvement. JavaScript pain points, the code architect, organizing, maintaining your code base. Yes, so we peoples are using lot of frameworks and library. Every framework and library is having different folder structures and the code maintenance way. So really this one is a pain point really. So state management, there is no one clear cut state management for all this JavaScript. Everyone has their own opinion. So this also so code organization state are top 2. Dependencies like npm, other dependencies also, because if the package is getting old and newer version won't support in functionality that you already using, and that is a problem. Day to day we are facing this. When if you didn't upgrade your packages at least in 6 months, and that will be a nightmare for your application. Build tools, performance. So performance also in 5th spot only. The first thing is code generation and state management. We need to so we'll see if this addressed by any libraries, that will be get hit. JavaScript happiness, people, there is happiness not increase or decrease, very much still the same because it reaches the saturation level. We'll see course and training. Yes, people still prefer to learn from the Udemy and front-end master. Udemy is still top. Plural site, I like the plural site actually. Podcast, I like Theo actually. PrimeGen is top. Syntax, that is a channel. So this mid span is, I think So video creator says I'm a huge fan of Fireship channel. Every video I won't miss any video, so I'll see all the video. Theo is second, Prime Gen. I like Kevin Pavel. He helps me a lot to learn the CSS actually and web dev simplified. If you are a beginner, if you want to learn web dev concepts very simply, and you have to go to this channel. I'm a very big fan of this channel also. Ivan News, a Vue.js creator. So let's see the award section. So most adopted technology is white. Yes, highest retention is a white test. As I said, I'm also migrating one of my project to white. Highest interest roll down, not sure what it is. Analog, most commented libraries, most liked. So white and whitest is in top this year. So let's see CSS survey. What's the newest features mostly used by the community? So CSS filter effect. So you can add contrast and blur for the image without using any third party. So from the CSS itself, you can achieve this. Has, I'm mostly using it. Has actually max content, aspect ratio, scroll behavior. So now most people are prefer using scroll behavior with smooth comparison, backdrop filter, focus visible, CSS nesting. Now nesting, yes, we don't need to use third party libraries for nesting, and also CSS, so CSS itself support for the nesting. CSS in JS, CSS modules, styled components. I use CSS modules. I create a CSS file only. I'll import that, so it will convert as a JSON object and it will give the value. So I prefer to use CSS module instead of styled components and others. I like this CSS module way. Preprocessor is CSS. SAS is in top. 67% people are using this. Post CSS less. What is CSS utility? Prettifier, yes, I'm a user of Prettifier in my current project. CSS lint, nano, but nothing other than that. Prettier is still top CSS framework, obviously Tailwind CSS. So without writing, Tailwind is most people, so only 3000 people, 75% response for the Tailwind CSS, and Bootstrap first 54. So CSS versus JavaScript balance. So even in the context of CSS survey, it turns out majority of respondents still spend most of their time in the JavaScript ecosystem. So 100% CSS to 100% JS. So people see it as a mixed feeling. So if you are using libraries, you are not going to write most of the CSS. But my current project, we write our own CSS because that is our own company's component. So we're spending half of, actually, in my opinion. So now let's see this HTML form data API. So HTML introduce a new form data, so you can get it from the form entries object. And autocomplete I didn't use. Data less HTML media cap only accept this kind of formats. These accepts are mostly used. Interactivity dialog, clipboard API is the most useful one. So that is, you can give a copy button, and when you click, it will save the value in the clipboard. Popover API for content HTML. So people mostly prefer lazy loading for the performance. Source set sizes. So for the responsive websites, people's for image, instead of using CSS and those things, so they give the source set and sizes value. So browser will decide which image it needs to load. This is the most used, most appreciated feature from the web community. And we'll see web components. So custom components, mostly React, Angular, so from everywhere we are writing the custom components only. Accessibility, this is a less concentrated area in the HTML community actually. Native web development. Web share API, let's say we are building application with a sharing, so expose mechanism for sharing content, various users select a target. So file system, access files and directories. So now this one I also use it for one of my application. Let's see what demographics the peoples are from. So most of the people from USA and Germany spans. So these are the top peoples. I'm from India, but it is very 2%. So USA is always on top when it comes to income salary, and in India it is very less actually. United Kingdom also, it's a good number. India is not there in the list itself. Australia, Switzerland are good number actually. These are for the JavaScript yearly income. So highest number of peoples are so nearly 60 to 80k peoples are getting, nearly a good amount of percentage peoples are getting. Higher education. So if you see the higher education with the pay, So having degree actually having a good number in terms of yearly income when compared to no. Developers don't drop out from college, complete your degree. Men's 92% are men from for the survey. Interesting.